Sucker Punch's latest open-world adventure, Ghost of Tsushima, is a callback to the iconic Akira Kurosawa samurai films such as Seven Samurai, Rashomon, and Yojimbo. Setting such a high bar is a very difficult task, especially when creating the game's soundtrack, composed by Shigeru Umebayashi and Ilan Eshkeri. Before we begin, please help support my channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. You can also ring the bell for notifications as to future videos and contact me with an idea or suggestion for my next project. Based on the events of the Mongol invasion of the Japanese island of Tsushima in 1274, Ghost of Tsushima puts us in the middle of a war through the character of Jin Sakai, a young samurai who must reevaluate his code of honor in order to save his people. To create the soundtrack to Ghost of Tsushima's world, director Nate Fox explored film, television, and video game music for the authentic sound he was after. He eventually decided that because the game was so large, two composers would be necessary to fill the enormous world and create a diverse tapestry of sound. One of these composers, Ilan Eshkeri, had considerable experience writing for the screen with scores from movies such as Ninja Assassin and 47 Ronin. Eshkeri was assigned to focus on the character melodies, such as in the track Jin Sakai. Also an accomplished film composer, Shigeru Umebayashi wrote the music for memorable films including House of Flying Daggers, Fearless, and The Grand Master, among many others. He was tasked with writing the music representing the landscape and emotional themes of the game, most notably along the keywords of serenity, occupation, exile, haunting, and sanctuary.
You should be here, Uncle.
The 22-song soundtrack is filled with combination of Western-style orchestral instruments and traditional Japanese instruments that lend a sense of authenticity to the score. Among these instruments are the biwa, a four-stringed guitar similar to the European lute or Chinese pipa. The biwa was played quite often during the Japanese feudal era by samurai as a form of mental training. The shakuhachi, a bamboo flute played vertically, is another major Japanese instrument that is prominent throughout the soundtrack. In fact, Jin can collect different melodies and play them on his shakuhachi to control different aspects of the weather. Additional Japanese instruments heard within Ghost of Tsushima include the shamisen, the koto, and taiko drums. Eshkeri and Umebayashi do an excellent job combining the modern 21st century orchestral sound with a reminiscence of the rich history of Japanese culture. Integrating the sounds of traditional Japanese instruments with Western-style instruments is seamless and creates a cinematic experience that would easily be effective as a feature film. The range and emotional depth of the music is also one of the major highlights of the soundtrack. From the deeply mournful The Way of the Ghost to the menacing Khotun Khan, the music never gets formulaic or descends into familiar cliches and tropes that have become parodies of Asian music. Intense tracks such as A Reckoning in Blood and No Mercy combine lyrical woodwind phrases with punctuated string motifs along with driving percussion that really makes you feel that you are in the center of Tsushima's struggle for freedom. The only criticism I can offer regarding the coexistence between the music and the gameplay is that I would have appreciated more of the soundtrack to be played during the large amount of time I spent out of combat simply exploring the island of Tsushima. The use of silence has become widely used in successful games such as Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild, which does give a heightened sense of immersion. However, in this case, I believe that background narrative music during these areas would have been more beneficial, as was the case with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. There are some limited cases where this is present in Ghost of Tsushima, which left me wanting more of the gorgeous soundtrack that defines this excellent story. Ghost of Tsushima is an epic and ambitious game that takes an original theme and combines it with a hauntingly beautiful and emotionally vibrant soundtrack. It successfully blends both Western and Asian musical elements and utilizes the full talents of both of these composers.
Today, I die for my people.
Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Professor Lesser.